Welcome, everybody, to ITD Gaming Appetizers. Now that Summer Game Fest is over, I guess, depending on what your idea of definition of that is, because it was a 2 hour long showcase, and we're moving on to the other gamers conferences. We're going to talk about the things that were announced or talked about during Jeff Keighley's Summer Game Fest, the 2 hour session. We'll kind of go through what are, a little bit more deeper dive than we did in the last one, the individual games. Last one, we talked about the actual show. Now we're going to talk about the games and, maybe what we're most interested in, or maybe what are like, why did they do that session, So we'll see what kind of happens from this. So, we'll go through our top picks, our what were they thinking, what WTF moments, of what this game is supposed to be about. Because there's some games in there that looked interesting, but I'm like, that looks cool, but what is it? It's the whole thing of releasing something before you actually have gameplay to show it off. We get the CGI trailer. Woo, this looks cool, but I want to see the game. So let's start with Nick. Nick, what was the game that you think was piqued your interest the most? Whether it was something that was already known and the trailer just added more intrigue for you, or maybe it was something that we didn't know about until now.
I think out of everything that was shown off, now, granted, there was a lot of games shown off that we already knew about that I'm very interested in. This game is one that, and I'm not going to pick something that, we probably all would pick. So I'm going to go a little off the rails here. But it is one that has been known about, and they showed a trailer off for it during Summerfest, and it still looks good, and I'm interested in it, and that is Witchfire. Witchfire is the first-person kind of shooter game that looks kind of like the old, Hexen and kind of the old school games, but newer looking. It's got newer visuals and stuff like that. But it's that run and gun kind of first-person, kind of Doomish looking type game, and it looks really cool. So I'm really interested in Witchfire. Witchfire was announced, I think, like a couple years ago or something like that. I don't think really was much talked about it, but it was kind of announced, and kind of, I think, a really small trailer or something like that was shown off. This was more of a longer trailer with gameplay, and it just looks really cool. And I'm hoping that it turns out to be a really cool game. So that's the one for me that out of all the lists, there's a ton in that list that looks really cool. But I think Witchfire has got me excited, and there's a lot that's got me excited, but Witchfire looks really cool. And like I said, it's kind of off the beaten path. I don't know if you guys would have picked Witchfire, but for me, it was Witchfire. So, Shane, what about you? Yeah.
Well, I was going to say on Witchfire, I saw that one and thought Hexen too when I saw it. I'm like, that's Hexen, which is kind of funny though, because, the same developer, developed that one, right? The Astronauts.
The Astronauts.
You know what other game they made? Which is not even close to this genre.
I'm trying to think. I can't think of it. What
The
is
Vanishing of Ethan Carter.
They're
not
never
even
played
close.
that, but I've heard it's really good.
It is really good, but it's a story. It's a story-driven
Right.
game. It's not like action or anything like that. So it seems kind of an odd. The Vanishing of Ethan Carter is a really good game if you don't mind story narrative-based games and things like that. So that's interesting that you picked that one. I thought that one looked cool too, but I saw the same exact thing. I'm like, they're making a new Hexen game? Shane, what was up on yours?
I'm all for it.
Yeah.
If they make a new Hexa game. I love Hexen, so.
Yep. That was a pretty cool game.
Just to start off, God, there was a lot shown, and a lot, like we talked about prior is, we knew about, but now I have like more info, more, videos shoved in my eyes, and I can see things. But the one that really probably got me really intrigued, the most was that Honkai Star Rail. It's a RPG from a Hoyoverse team, God, they made that one game I've never played, but everybody seems to love the RPG. I'll think of it later. But it looks really interesting. There was actually another
Genshin,
one in there. Yeah, Genshin Impact. But that one really looked interesting. I like the art style and everything. That I just like RPGs though, and the art style is very RPG. Character designs, the world looks just like cel shaded RPG. So I was really surprised and happy with that. There's another one here. I'll go afterwards, but I'll bring it next. But I was
I'm
really
a little
surprised
worried.
that I go ahead.
Yeah,
Just
I'm
because
worried
it's
about
Genshin
that one.
Impact.
And it's free. It's going to be a free to play game.
Yes.
So it's going to go after that freaking mobile model. And I'm like, nope.
Oh yeah.
It's kind of why I don't do Genshin and that stuff. I'm against the mobile model, and these guys can keep that. Nick, are you going to play this one? I think you played Genshin, didn't you? You played at least a PC version.
A little bit. I played a little bit of Genshin. Yeah, I mean they're gotcha games, right? So it's there to you turn the knob and you hope to get a good prize out of the gotcha machine, and that's pretty much what these are. That's what Genshin Impact is, and unfortunately, like the thing about this game and like Genshin Impact is you watch trailers or you watch videos of like Genshin Impact and it looks like a really cool game. You're like, man, I'd love to play that. But then you start playing it and then you realize the whole play to win aspect of it. And you're like, I don't like that. Like I like everything else, right? But I don't like that. And then, so I'm afraid, I'm with Pat on this. I'm afraid that it does look cool, like a cool anime RPG, but I think it's going to follow that gotcha model, which it's unfortunate.
Yeah. Well, Genshin Impact is really popular. I mean, it's terrible, but it's really popular. I mean, you guys know I ain't giving them a damn dime, but I mean, if they can keep my attention on a free to play, I'm still not giving them a dime, but more power to them.
And Genshin Impact is a good game. Like it is. Like if you play it as just the game and take the whole like play to win aspects out of it, it's a really good RPG. With a lot of story and cool, nice visuals and good combat and various things like that in it. So it's a good game overall. It's just that free to play, phone mobile model that has you pay to be good, right? Or to win basically. And that's what makes that game, unfortunately, unless you like that, not really worth your time. Unfortunately.
Yeah.
Just take that stuff out. Make Genshin Impact or this game, just like, charge money for it and just put out a cool game because you do make good games. Just quit trying to gouge everybody.
Crap.
Make more money with that mobile.
What about you, Pat? What was a game that you were really interested in?
I'm probably going to surprise everybody by the genre that this game is out of, but for me, it's a re-reveal of a game that was announced it's been 10 years ago. Routine. I'm not a horror game person, but that game looked pretty awesome. I'm like, ooh, it's a sci-fi abandoned space station type thing. I'm like, yeah, I kind of like that, but that game, I guess it's a re-reveal, right? Because they announced that game like in 2012, I believe was the year it was announced originally. Who knows what's been happening since 2012? I heard that they restarted over at some point, but I mean, how long could they have been working on it? I mean, it's still not ready to show anything off about the game or talk about a release date or anything. So I don't really understand what Raw Fury's been doing. The Lunar Software is the developer. Raw Fury is the publisher of it. I don't know what Lunar Software has been doing with it, but they said they built it from a ground up to realign the experience they originally set out to deliver. So I just don't know if they tried to deliver something that technology back in 2012 couldn't deliver and they shelved it for a while. But I don't like horror games, but that game kind of was like, that looks interesting to me. I'm very much interested in checking that one out. And the gameplay trailer was real. And it wasn't gameplay. I don't think that was gameplay. It looked like CGI, but they had the guy looking through the cool little gun and then the robots coming out of everywhere. So that was my pick is what I'm most intrigued about. I don't even remember the original announcement trailer for it.
No, it was pretty interesting. In the very beginning there, when he come up to the robot and the robot did his little mouth thing, I was like, that's pretty cool.
Who builds a robot with teeth?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that makes no sense. I mean, it was very basic. Then he opened up his mouth. It's like, holy crap. Right. But yeah, I agree. I'm definitely interested in that one.
Yeah, so it's
and
like this weird
you
little.
Picked that one.
Yeah, it's outside of my deal, but it's an abandoned space station, which is kind of that sci-fi thing that puts it up there for me, So I'm not really usually a horror game fan, but the old the way that one looks to me is pretty interesting. So we'll see what that one is like.
Pat don't mind pissing his pants as long as it's in space.
And I got diaper on, I'll have a diaper and a space suit. It'll recycle it into water and I'll be drinking that later. So,
There you go.
So yeah, so we can kind of come back to some of our favorites, but what was like one of the games that you were like, why are you here? You know, maybe it's what it is, but maybe you're like, why? What are these developers thinking? So, you know, I let Nick go first on this one. I'll let Shane start with this one.
I think we all have that.
Yeah, well, you know, there's something.
Yeah,
or there's something you're worried about. It's not necessarily a WTF moment, but maybe it's something that you're worried about. Kind of like we had mentioned with the Honkai game. You know, it's free to play, which means it's going to follow that. So, you know, what's something that you're kind of want to try, but you're maybe a little leery of, or maybe you're just like, why are they doing this? Shane, what do you think, man?
Oh man, you know what? I was going to go for the obvious, but I'm going to let one of you have it. The Midnight Sun, Marvel's Midnight Suns. I don't know. There's something about it. I'm interested, but there's also something about it that really throws me off. I mean, if it's Marvel, I'm into it. Even the crappy one that they put out from Square Enix, but there's something about the trailer that they showed off that's making me just go, really? I mean, what they did with the Hulk and the Venom in here is like, come on. And then, you know, some of the other characters they showed, it's like, this don't feel right. This don't feel right at all. But it's also a Marvel game, which I'm really into. So I don't know exactly what they're going to do with it. I don't know if it's based off of a comic book or not, but there's just something about it. I'm completely interested in it, but I'm also worried about it because I don't really know what they're going for. And I definitely don't like what they did with the Hulk and Venom characters. Just, I don't know. Just something about it bugs the living crap out of me. No.
Well, it's coming out this October.
I think you too.
Yeah, it's going to come out in October. So, I mean, they're talking about it being a tactical RPG. So I'm pretty sure that means single player, right? But a game like that screams co-op. A game like that screams
I want to
co-op.
say this one did have co-op. I want to say it did.
Did it?
Or it's going to. I could have swore they had said that, and that was one of the main like focuses of it. Was it a cooperative type game? I thought, or maybe I'm just, you know, it could be that I just dreamed it, but I thought that was one of the things.
I didn't think it did, but because I thought it was going to play more like an XCOM game, you know, from what I'd kind of seen of the gameplay, you know, and stuff like that. So, I mean, I imagine they'll get a multiplayer, but I don't know for sure. I'm just speculating. I was pretty sure I thought it looked like an XCOM style game, but
yeah, it's just, there's something about it that just makes me on the line. I don't mind if it's XCOM style or hell, I don't mind if it's just a smash and beat 'em up. It's just with what they're doing with the character designs and everything, it just throws me off, and I don't like being thrown off. But that's me. What about you, Nick? What's one that's got you a little puckered on the butt?
Well, speaking of Midnight Suns, they do have it on the Steam page, and it does show single player. So it is just a single player experience, it looks like.
Games like that scream co-op to me, though.
Yeah, me too. I mean, you got all those characters and stuff. It's like, come on, do some co-op with it. I'm interested in Midnight Suns, but I'm hoping, you know, it does have till October. They could put co-op in. Come on, guys. For me, we'll save the best for last, I guess, maybe. But I will go with The Quarry. Yeah, I don't know why that was there and why we had. I mean, that game has been pushed and pushed. Everything I see is The Quarry. I mean, they are just, the marketing team behind that game is just pushing the crap out of it. And you know, even on the Summer Game Fest, they just had to remind us, The Quarry comes out tomorrow, everybody. And you're like, okay, that's good. I don't know. I'm not really interested in The Quarry. I don't know, that developer, it seems like they make games that, and I've played a few of them, and they seem like they make games that people enjoy, right? Because they also make the Man and Medan stuff, I believe, right? It's the same people.
Yeah.
So, and like Until Dawn, I think, as well, right?
Now, this one's supposed to be like a successor.
Supermassive makes those.
Yes.
This is supposed to be like a successor to Until Dawn, which I thought was fabulous. I thought just Until Dawn was amazingly made.
Right. Yeah. So I didn't know that it was the
Mhm.
successor to that, but yeah, they make, like Nick had said, the Dark Pictures anthology. They made the, and they're making the Dark Pictures anthology. Make the Dark Pictures anthologies, which they're coming out with a new one sometime later. So yeah, but yeah, it bills itself as kind of that, right? It bills itself as the narrative based game, which sometimes they're good, sometimes they're not. They need to put together a sci-fi one because then maybe I'll be more interested.
See, the thing I like about this is just it's like playing a movie, and if they stick to what they did on the previous one, it's like playing a movie, and your options really feel like they make differences. And I really like the original one they came out with. But I can agree with Nick because they're really hit and miss. What was that last one they came out with? That was, God dang it! There was that one that just came out that was similar to it.
That
Well, I
they
guess
put
it's been a
out.
while though. Yeah, no, it wasn't them. It was one that was similar to them though.
I don't
The
know.
Man of Medan one before that.
They
It
did a
wasn't
picture.
them, but
Oh, but you're talking about the other, like the thematic video, choose your own adventure video game where it's like real people.
Yeah.
And I can't remember the name of that one. I remember which one you're talking
Yeah.
about now, where it's just a cinematic game.
yeah, and that one really threw me off because I didn't like those near as much. So now I'm a little iffy on these things, but I do like how they did the first. I like that they're using real actors and stuff like that. May not be the best actors, but they're using them. I think half the cast of Nickelodeon's in the new.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I know that I think the last Dark Pictures was user and critic rated pretty well. That one where they're in like the tomb or whatever. I know the Man of Medan didn't get great praise, and that's the one I played, and that one is not that great. I think it was me and Pat
Yeah.
were playing it, and we laughed more than anything. And we I think we completed it at one point, and the story is not that interesting, and the game is not really that interesting. It was just kind of fun to play at co-op, but other than that, it was kind of a boring game. But supposedly, I guess the ones after that have gotten better. So maybe I just need to retry one, maybe the newer one, or maybe play the Quarry, because I think the Quarry is co-op, right? Again, I know the other ones were 2-player co-op. I think this one's like 4-player co-op or something like that. Because there's like 8 people in the Quarry or something like that. 8 kids, teenagers down there at the lake for spring break, getting all crazy when there's a killer on the loose, man.
Yeah, it's I don't know if is it multiplayer. I can't remember. I don't think it's multiplayer now, but I think the developers had mentioned something about possibly being multiplayer in the future.
Yeah, I couldn't see that type of game being a multiplayer because, like I said, it's like playing through a movie. So I mean, it'd be
Right, but
interesting if they could do it.
Like the Dark Pictures anthology, you got to pick a different character. Like I was a different character than Nick, and
yes, yes.
We thought it was funny because we were picking the most absurd options and things like that, and watching it play through, and the jump scares were more funny. But yeah.
Yeah.
So it says it has split screen co-op.
Wow.
Couch co-op in this day and age. Aren't these
co-op.
people? Come on, people. COVID. There's no couch co-op. I'm not sitting on the couch with these guys.
I don't even sit on the couch with my wife. Love you, honey.
What about you, Pat? What's the next one to go down the drain?
I am not picking the low-hanging fruit. Anybody that knows me knows that I love a few different types of genres of game, but one of my all-time favorites has always been RTS, real-time strategy games. And I love StarCraft. StarCraft is one of my original loves for video games, and I remember spending hours going over to friends' house at LAN parties and using their where you can spawn copies of the game onto their machine if you're playing Brood Wars, and they can play with you because you had the original copy. But Stormgate, I am really worried about an RTS with a free-to-play strategy. I don't know how that's going to be how they're expect to make money in a real-time strategy in a free-to-play game. They're either going to charge for units or they're going to charge for skins, which if they charge for skins, whatever, I'm cool with that. but they're going to lock some type of progression or some type of something that you're going to need to play the game behind a paywall is my concern with Stormgate, because I don't know enough about it. It's supposed to have a beta in 2023. But it's the game is developed by a bunch of people from StarCraft and Warcraft, the RTS style game. And I'm like, I loved those games, played a lot of those, and I really have a love relationship with those games. I bought all the StarCrafts. I own them. I had the original disc of the original StarCraft, and then I bought them again when it became digital because I'd love to have them. I am extremely worried about Stormgate, just because how can you have a free-to-play RTS that you put so much development hours in and expect to make money on skins or non-play to win things? How do you play an RTS pay to win? I don't know, but they're going to figure it out either by units or resource generation or something stupid, but help them. It's going to be world help them if Stormgate is a paywall game or a pay to win game, because they're going to have hellfire rained down on them by fans of RTSs, just like Diablo and everybody else out there. Do not take a genre that like an RTS and make it a pay to win, because you're not getting my money and you're not getting me playing it. So you're just going to get me bad mouthing you. But that's my concern with that one. I don't know what you guys think.
Yeah, when I saw the trailer for it, I was like, wow, that looks cool. A new RTS, that looks awesome. Former Blizzard people, cool. I love StarCraft and Warcraft RTS as well. I've gotten, back in the day, had several copies of StarCraft and Warcraft and everything. But yeah, once they said free to play, I was like, well, then there it goes. It was like my excitement went from 1 to 0, because yeah, exactly. You got that free to play model that just means monetizing the crap out of it. They say they're not going to follow the standard monetization practices and various things of that nature. But yeah, Pat's right. Without selling like skins, which sure, they could make some money off of skins and stuff, but you're not going to make the kind of money that an RTS free to play is going to make unless you have paywalls or you have an abundance of currencies that you have to get currencies, right? You got to get this currency to get that currency in order to upgrade this currency for that currency. So that's pretty much the line it's going to go, and they're going to shoot themselves in the foot, right? Hopefully, anyway. I mean, hopefully these mobile games and these free-to-play model games have got to stop. And otherwise, we're going to see our big and our most exciting franchises that we love transitioning to that model. And I'm afraid it's not going to get out of the phones, and it's going to go to your consoles, and it's going to go to your PCs. And that's how that model's going to take off from there, right? And then everything's going to have that model behind it, because if enough people keep playing it, you got that player base of 13, 14, 20, 30, whatever thousand or million people, and they're all spending $10,000 a week or a day or whatever on your mobile title. I mean, we've already seen it with Diablo, right? There are millions of people playing that and millions of people spending millions of dollars already. And that just, and we talked about it before with Fortnite mobile, right? And Call of Duty mobile. I mean, those games made a crap ton of money on their launch week, and companies see that, and now they're just looking at they're looking at basically, how do we take that model and put it onto a console or a PC, right? They've already started to with Diablo. You can play Diablo on PC, and there was another game that you can also play that was a free to play MMO, Genshin Impact. You can play that on console, right? So they're already starting to push themselves into that market, and I'm afraid that Stormgate's going to follow that same path.
Yep, I agree with you guys. I agree. So, this one might run a little long, but I guess I will. I'll give one person the option to pick another thing that they're excited about, and somebody can pick something they're worried about. So who wants the excited copy? Who wants to push something that they're excited about?
I go excited.
All right, what are you excited about, Shane?
Well, I don't want to take away from Pat's thunder, but I'm excited for Ninja Turtles Shredder's Revenge. It's Ninja Turtles. I mean, what other things do you need to say about it? It's freaking Ninja Turtles. They just introduced Casey Jones, Summer Game Fest, and it's 6-player co-op. It looks like havoc at 6 players. I mean, if you're able to hit your, team, we're screwed. We ain't gonna get past that first level. But it's Ninja Turtles. I mean, it just looks like classic Ninja Turtles. I mean, you're almost a chibi-sized character running across the screen, beating the crap out of Bebop, Rocksteady, the Foot Clan, Krang, and I'm excited for it. I just really am. I love the Ninja Turtles. I mean, I used to take my nieces to watch Ninja Turtles and pretend it was for them. That's the great uncle I am. Before I had my own kids. And then, when the last few Ninja Turtle movies came out, what I do, I took my kids to see them. Not for me, but for them. They were crappy movies, but I still wanted to watch. So the Ninja Turtles have got me really hyped. I can't wait for the three of us. Maybe we can get our long lost fourth to come in and play with us a little bit. Maybe a few others, if anybody wants to come play, look us up. I'm excited for it. I can't wait. It's Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I'm going to order like a whole pizza and eat the day it comes out.
We're all going to be sitting at Shane's house eating pizza, playing freaking split screen or something. We're all be playing on the same console. Shane's going to hand out Shane's going to hand out the guest controllers so you don't get pizza all over his controller. This is the Mad Catz controller, and this is the weird Candy Wildcats controller.
This one has built-in lights.
Yeah, this one plugged into the wall. so yeah, I'm excited for that. I think we all love that. I mean, I love those old beat 'em up, Streets of Rage, Ninja Turtles, and I spent so much money at the Ninja Turtles arcade game when I was a kid, and then when I got my Nintendo, I'm like, I gotta get Ninja Turtles, Then the water level about killed me, the underwater level about killed me, and so I can't wait to play this one. I can't wait to play it with at least these guys. I would at least like to try the 6 players, so we may end up having us 3 and our significant others at least playing with us. That'll be a rough battle, but it'll be fun.
Yeah, so. You guys ain't never heard yelling like my wife when she's losing in a game.
She's only losing because Shane keeps kicking her in the back, In the game. Might be real life too, I don't know, but
that's good. Probably.
Cool. Nick, I'm pretty sure you're excited for Ninja Turtles, right?
Of course. Yeah, who isn't excited for Ninja Turtles? I'm hoping this is good. I'm hoping it's good. I'm hoping that all this hype doesn't turn out to be a crappy game. So,
oh no, that would break my heart. I mean, Nick's such a Ninja Turtle fan. Nick? He's got a back tattoo of a shell.
Who are you gonna play, Nick?
Don't you dare say my character. I will smack the shit.
What, Donatello?
Donatello, baby. It's all about Donnie.
I'll probably play as Michelangelo.
He likes them nunchucks, huh?
Like the
I'll play as Leonardo and leave Donatello for Shane. I'll leave Donatello for Shane. Nobody likes Raph. Nobody wants those.
Nobody likes Raph. You ain't got no
give
reach.
Raph to Russ.
That's Russ. Russ is Raph, right? Nobody likes Raph.
No, Russ gets.
He gets April O'Neil.
April O'Neil with her microphone.
It could be Casey Jones.
Now, Casey may not be bad. He got a hockey stick.
Yep.
Splinter
Awesome.
got a cane.
So I guess, Nick, that will leave up to you one of the what were they thinking or something you're worried about. You got one more for us?
Go for it, buddy.
This would be the more of not really what were they thinking. This is definitely one that I understand why they're there, but I feel sorry for them. And that was Outriders World Slayer. And the reason I feel sorry for him is because Outriders, I think, is pretty much dead, and they're trying to revive it with World Slayer. I feel like Outriders, I don't know what the amount of players that are playing Outriders right now, but I think for People Can Fly, Outriders didn't, and for Square Enix, Outriders didn't really kick off like they wanted it to. I think they wanted it to turn into the next Destiny or a Destiny contender, and I just don't think it really had the chops to kind of go up against it. They tried. Outriders was a pretty good game. We played it to completion, and the end game was a little. The end game wasn't great. World Slayer does look cool, but I just don't know if it's going to bring those people back into it, right? I feel like it's dead. And I feel more, I understand why they're at Summer Game Fest, right? They want to really push World Slayer and get those players in there. I feel more sorry for them because every time I see it, I'm like, is that player base going to come back? And I feel like the answer is no. And that might be the end for them. World Slayer might be the end of the world for Outriders.
That sucks too, because I like People Can Fly. I think their Bulletstorm game was just fantastic. It's just such a fun game. I agree though. I don't think they can bring enough people back with it. Even though we really enjoyed it. It wasn't perfect by any means, but we all really enjoyed it. But how much content is going to be there? Because Destiny, when they put out new content, it's quite a bit of content. So are they going to meet that quantity of content? Or is it just going to be a bunch of, filler, runs? You run over here, you rescue Bob. Bob sends you over here, you rescue Bill. Or is it going to be, real content? I guess that'll be the thing that really decides, because I imagine their player base is still better than that one we reviewed on PlayStation a while
You mean the
back.
one that has one person playing it? The Square Enix one?
Greedfall. Yeah. That one dedicated player. Yeah, he was just waiting for Outriders to come out with their expansion. So
Well, it wasn't Greedfall.
Yeah.
It was what was the other Square Enix one, Nick? You remember that one that we played in
Babylon's Fall?
Babylon's Fall.
Babylon's Fall.
I was like, Greedfall was a good game.
Greedfall was a single player RPG.
Yeah.
Outriders has 961 players.
Yep. Active, yeah.
According
That's
to
what I was
Steam
gonna
charts.
say.
So they're still doing better than somebody we know.
But I mean, Outriders only had on Steam a peak player count of 125,000. It's not like they had millions of players to begin with. So, I mean, it is what it is if you think about that. I mean, they jump up when they release new content. I mean, they were doing 600 concurrent players, and then they released New Horizon, and it jumped up to 3,000 players. So, I mean, I'll be honest with you. When I saw the trailer, I was a little bit excited. I thought, what is this? Because I hadn't watched any of the trailers for that, and I'm like, oh. I was thinking, is this something Destiny related? It kind of looks a little Destiny-ish. And then I'm like, oh, it's Outriders. So I wouldn't be interested in that. I would be interested in going back and checking it out, depending on the cost of the expansion, right?
Yeah.
If it's a
Well,
30,
the last time I looked at it, the cost of the expansion was like $40.
I was going to say, if it was 30, I'm all about it. But 40, I'm kind of out.
Well, let me look and see for sure. But I know it was pretty expensive for an expansion.
Yeah. It does. I think more people need to give it a try. And like we said in our review, the one thing that I think really hurt it was the betas. Because we played one of the betas and it was not good. The gameplay of the when it released was so much better. So, and that might be why we enjoyed it, because the beta sucked so bad.
Right. I mean, I enjoyed it. And so me and Nick, we lost you guys. We all four started playing at the same time, and then Rush dropped off, and then Shane dropped off, and Nick and I ran it to the end, and then we played some of the end game content. But the end game was just too repetitive, I think, in my opinion. But I really liked the gameplay and the cool stuff about it. I mean, they had just the right amount of difficulty. So I'm game to try out the expansion if you guys are, but I want it to be $30 and not $40.
I would agree.
This must be the whole. This has got to be the original game plus the expansion. Okay, so the expansion, it's if you pre-order it, you can get it for $35.99, but it's a $40 game.
It's still not worth it. That price
for the expansion. That's an expensive expansion. That's almost the price of a new game. It's $20 off.
I'll wait for summer sale or spring sale, fall sale.
Right. Yeah. Right now, Xbox has it on sale for $35.99 if you pre-order. So for pre-order price.
Cool. All right. So we've there's so much. We could probably talk a whole nother half hour on this, but, nobody wants to listen to us jabber for an hour long. So we're going to go ahead and end this one. There was many more in everybody's repertoire they wanted to talk about, but we just hit the highlights of what our crew thinks. Let us know what you think. What was your highlights, and what are you most worried about that they discussed? Is there anything that you're worried about? And as always, make sure you tell your friends about us. You share our content so everybody knows we're out there, so we can continue to keep growing as we have been the last couple of months. And as always, don't forget to hit that like button. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button if you're not subscribed, because you've already listened to this whole spiel. You might as well subscribe to our channel and like us. We know you like us. You've been here this long. So, we hope you enjoyed this episode, and we hope to catch you in the next one. Everybody, take it easy.
See ya.